Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Having calmed down a bit, I tidied up my clothes and quietly returned to my seat, involuntarily first glancing at the imperial consort Hua, noticing she was still sitting alone, drinking. Lingrong hurriedly said, "Sister, where have you been for so long? Sister Mei has sent people to look for you several times." I smiled faintly. I was drunk and slept in the side hall, not realizing I had overslept. Lingrong sighed with relief and then smiled. "Sister, you were deep in sweet dreams. I was worried sick." While we were talking, Xianling approached me and said, "Your maid said you went to change your clothes. How come it took you so long?" I was drunk and slept for a while before waking up. I'm also feeling a bit drunk. Let's have some fruits to sober up. The palace maids quickly brought up a variety of fresh fruits from the well water, glistening with water droplets on the snow-white porcelain plates, looking particularly tempting. The empress smiled and said, "Everything else aside, these lotus roots are freshly dug from the lake. They are very crispy and tender." Everyone laughed and thanked her as they tasted the fruits. Chao Jieyu came over with a gentle smile and said, "Today's music and dance are grand, but they are somewhat rigid. This is a family banquet, and we are all relatives here. Why not think of some light-hearted games?" Xianling said, "Today you are the host, let's hear your ideas. I think the sisters in the palace serving His Majesty must all have their own talents. How about we write down these talents on paper and draw lots? Whoever draws will perform in front of everyone to entertain the guests. What do you think, Your Majesty?" Xianling nodded and said, "That's a fresh idea. Let's do as you say." Chao Jieyu quickly went to prepare, and in just a moment she brought over a blue and white porcelain vase. "Sister Ronghua is pregnant and should not exert herself. Let me take care of this task of drawing lots." Xianling said, "How come? The person who came up with the idea is not performing." Chao Jieyu said, "I have no special talents. I only know how to play with beaded jewelry, which is hardly suitable for a grand occasion. I've already decided no matter what the sisters perform, I will gift a string of beaded jewelry to show my appreciation. What do you think, Your Majesty?" "That's barely acceptable," Meizhuang said from the side. "What if the drawn lot does not match the sisters' talent?" Chao Jieyu smiled and said, "Even if it's not their strong suit, they should know a bit about it. Besides, we are sisters who see each other every day, so anything casual will do." The banquet had already been going on for half a day, and everyone was tired of the music. When Chao Jieyu suggested this idea, everyone found it interesting and was eager to try. The concubines in the palace always competed for favor by showing off their talents and beauty. Now, with this opportunity, especially in front of the emperor and empress, everyone was very keen to outshine the others. Chao Jieyu drew a lot for the empress, which required her to write the character show, longevity, with both hands simultaneously. The empress, known for her exquisite calligraphy, a skill unrivaled in the harem, performed the task with ease. As soon as the two show characters were completed, everyone unanimously praised her. Duanfei, feeling unwell, had already retired to rest, while Feng Shui composed a verse. Tianguren and Qin Fangyi played a duet of Phoenix seeking the phoenix. Lu Liangyuan painted a vibrant guanyin delivering the child, all showcasing their unique talents. With a graceful gesture, Chao Jieyu drew another lot and announced, "This one's for Zhenwani." She unfolded the lot and chuckled. "Please, sister, perform the surprise swan dance." Turning to Xianling with a smile, she said, "Sister's grace is akin to a soaring dragon, a startled swan. It's fitting that I drew this for you. Please don't decline." The surprise swan dance, originally created by consort Mei of Emperor Xuanzong's court and long lost, was revived with great effort by Empress Chongyuan, who had a deep passion for music and dance. After painstakingly seeking out the original dance and making her own modifications, she brought it to the world, making it an instant hit both within the palace and among the common folk, where any place with water would see women performing it. However, mastering this dance was extremely challenging, requiring not only years of dedication but also specific physical attributes. A well-executed performance could captivate all, but a poor one could easily become a subject of ridicule. Exine Guofei, always straightforward, showed a hint of disdain. How could Zhenwani, so young, possibly perform the surprise swan dance? It seems too demanding. Chao Jieyu responded with a smile. Sister Xian might be underestimating Sister Huan. She's always been intelligent. The surprise swan dance is within the capability of all ladies, and why wouldn't she know it? Besides, even if it's not up to the former empress's standard, it's all in good fun among sisters. There's no need for seriousness. Xian Guofei, initially defending me, found herself at a loss for words against Chao Jieyu and turned away in a huff. Imperial consort Hua, who had been drinking alone, spoke up. If one cannot dance, then don't. There's no need to force oneself. The late empress once captivated all with her dance. It's unlikely anyone today could match her. With that, she drank another cup without another word. Her statement was clearly a provocation. A chill went through me as I thought things through. Not dancing could lead to ridicule, suggesting Zhen's lack of talent and unworthiness of imperial favor, tarnishing the royal dignity. However, a poor performance would invite mockery, while a successful one could overshadow others and possibly be construed as disrespectful to the late empress, especially since the current empress was her sister. Given the deep affection between the emperor and the late empress, any accusation of disrespect could make life in the palace difficult. Noticing the repeated mentions of the late empress and the change in the empress's expression, the emperor, after a moment of contemplation, suggested softly, "The surprise swan dance is difficult to master. Let's choose something else." Mei Zhuang and Lingrong both frowned, knowing my passion lies in literature rather than dance, and repeatedly signaled for me to excuse myself from the performance. Seizing the opportunity provided by the empress's suggestion, Mei Zhuang quickly agreed. Huan just recovered from being drunk. It's not suitable for her to dance. Xianling gazed at me for a moment, then slowly said, "It has been a long time since the surprise swan dance was performed in the palace. I would like to see it." Huan just danced casually. With the emperor himself making the request, I could no longer refuse. Taking a deep breath, I stepped slowly to the center of the hall. Everyone seemed prepared to laugh at me. How would Zhen, favored by the emperor for her literary talents, manage to dance with the grace of a startled swan? It was more likely to resemble the awkwardness of a startled bird. Suddenly, Mei Zhuang stood up and suggested to the emperor with a smile, "The usual sounds of silk and bamboo instruments are too mundane. Allow me to play the qin and have Xian serve sing to add to the atmosphere for Huan." I knew Mei Zhuang was trying to help me by diverting the attention of the audience with the sound of the qin and singing. I glanced at Lingrong, knowing Mei Zhuang was also looking for an opportunity to draw the emperor's attention to Lingrong, to lend us a hand. This could be an opportunity, but it was uncertain if Lingrong would agree. The emperor nodded. "Bring the enduring yearning guqin from Consort Shu." A eunuch promptly brought the guqin I had played in the Shuelu Nuangxiu Hall. Consort Shu, once favored by the former emperor, had a long-standing secret love affair due to her status. On the day she entered the palace, the emperor gifted her a guqin named Enduring Yearning, and a flute named Eternal Guardianship, as tokens of their commitment. After the former emperor's death, Consort Shu requested to leave the palace to pursue a religious life, leaving the guqin and flute behind. Mei Zhuang tuned the guqin and nodded vigorously at me. Lingrong, after bowing to the emperor and empress, sat beside Mei Zhuang, watching me anxiously. With a slight nod from me, Lingrong began to sing softly. As the music started and Lingrong sang, I began to dance. The entire Fulai Palace fell into silence, as if devoid of any presence, except for the sounds of Mei Zhuang's qin and Lingrong's voice. My wide sleeves fluttered like clouds, the beads in my hair jingled rapidly, and my movements were as soft as willows. The blooming purple perilla in the courtyard seemed to scatter like a shower of flowers under the sweep of my sleeves, reminiscent of the apricot blossoms I had once kicked into the air. Lingrong's singing was enchanting, Mei Zhuang's qin playing was exquisite, and I was fully immersed in my dance. I thought to myself, Chao Jieyu had underestimated me. She thought that since I came from a family versed in literature, I would not excel in dance. Although I had gained the emperor's favor through literature, I understood the importance of not revealing all my talents at once. Surprises and unexpected moments are what truly capture attention. I wasn't worried about my dancing skills. As a child living in the South, my aunt often taught me to dance. Hearing about Empress Chuanyuan's surprise swan dance captivating everyone, I, filled with a competitive spirit, had my father invited a dance teacher who had accompanied Empress Chunyuan in the palace. After studying the Luo Shenfu and all historical materials related to Mei Fei's surprise swan dance, I practiced diligently for 10 years to achieve this level of skill. However, the challenge was ensuring my surprise swan dance, inspired by Empress Chunyuan's original, had its own style without seeming disrespectful to the late empress. Creating something new within the traditional framework was difficult and required careful thought. Suddenly, a clear and uplifting flute melody began to play, as melodious and refreshing as ripples on a clear lake or clouds emerging from a mountain peak. With a turn, I saw Prince Qinghe standing in the courtyard, playing a purple flute, his white robes fluttering like a gentle breeze under a sky of tiny purple flowers. The melody shifted away from the typical surprise swan dance tune, rising 2 octaves, becoming longer and more relaxed, reminiscent of the tide of the azure sea and the falling of petals, elevating the performance to a new level. Mei Zhuang, quick-witted, followed Prince Qinghe's change in melody, and Lingrong switched her song accordingly. Relieved and delighted, Prince Qinghe's impromptu flute play freed me from the constraints of the dance I had learned, allowing me to fully express myself with sweeping movements. The petals of the purple perilla brushed against my temples and sleeves, creating a fragrant cloud with each turn to the music. As I was fully immersed in the dance, Mei Zhuang's qin music suddenly became faint, marred by several off notes, signaling her inability to continue. I quickly turned to see Mei Zhuang covering her mouth as if to vomit. In the midst of this sudden turn of events, Prince Qinghe tossed the purple flute towards me and took over the enduring yearning guqin, sitting down to play. Mei Zhuang was hurriedly assisted by palace maids to rest. Catching the flute, I immediately devised a plan. Consort Mei, favored by Emperor Xuanzong of Tang for her poetry, music knowledge, and especially her dance skills, was affectionately called Mei Jing by the emperor for her performance with a white jade flute and the surprise swan dance. Now, with the flute in hand, my dance would naturally not be compared to Empress Chuanyuan's unadorned grace, thus avoiding any disrespect. Moreover, since the surprise swan dance originated from Consort Mei, it was fitting. With these thoughts, I brought the flute to my lips and increased the tempo of my dance, spinning faster until my skirt flared like a blooming pomegranate, my ornaments jingling like water, the surrounding figures blurring into circles of white, yet my breath remained steady. The melody flowed gracefully to its end. As I spun, I heard a familiar flute melody intertwining with mine, knowing it was Xianling playing, which brought me even more joy. Our eyes met, and his gaze was as tender as when we first met, warming my heart and letting go of any lingering resentment from the incident in the Nanshuan Hall. The flute and qin harmonized, the singing gradually quieted to a whisper. My body, like a willow in the wind, spiraled down gracefully with the final notes of the flute. My white, ethereal skirt spread out like a blooming flower on the crimson carpet as I knelt. Looking up at Xianling approaching, he extended his hand to help me up, whispering, "How many more surprises do you have that I don't know about?" I smiled shyly. "Just a minor skill to amuse your majesty." Noticing Chao Jieyu's changing expression and her swift congratulation to Xianling on my supposed wisdom and unique dance, I remained silent. However, the empress, with a smirk, questioned Chao Jieyu's repeated references to the late empress's dance, noting that even imperial consort Hua hadn't been in the palace then, let alone Chao Jieyu, casting doubt on her comparisons. Caught off guard by the empress's unusual tone, Chao Jieyu awkwardly admitted her mistake, expressing regret for not having witnessed the late empress's dance. Xianling, slightly frowning at Chao Jieyu, ignored her and softly asked me if I was tired from the lengthy performance. I assured him with a smile, "I am not tired. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to witness the late empress's exquisite performance of the surprise swan dance, which is indeed my loss. In my dance today, I merely imitated the style of Consort Mei, akin to the glow of a firefly against the bright moonlight of the late empress." Xianling laughed heartily, releasing my hand, and said to Prince Qinghe, "You arrived late, brother. You must drink 3 cups as a penalty." Xianqing raised his cup with a smile. "I've already played a tune to enhance the new sister-in-law's performance. How could you hold me accountable, brother? Especially in front of the new sisters-in-law." He then drank it all in one go. Xianling remarked, "The flute sound of enduring yearning truly complements the guqin sound of eternal guardianship, making it a peerless harmony." Pointing at me and Meizhuang, he introduced, "This is Wani of the Zhen family, and Ronghua of the Shan family." Turning to Lingrong, he inquired, "And who is the singer?" Upon the emperor's inquiry, Lingrong quickly knelt and responded, "I am Engshi, your servant." Xianling commanded her to rise with a simple reward, and then, without further attention to Lingrong, took my hand and seated us near the emperor and empress. Lingrong, momentarily stunned, soon respectfully withdrew. I turned with a gentle smile, returning the purple flute to Prince Qinghe. "Thank you for your assistance, or else I would have surely become a laughingstock." He replied with a modest smile, "You're too polite, Wani," and took his seat. Observing him, now dignified and composed, unlike his earlier frivolous demeanor, I mused that even the most unrestrained must put on an act before others. Among the princes, while some seemed insignificant or formidable, it was clear that each had their own strengths and weaknesses, with Prince Qinghe being renowned more for his appearance than substance. Xianling, having seated me by his side, asked Xianqing, "As a master of poetry, do you have any new works inspired by today's dance?" Xianqing modestly replied, "You jest, brother. I fear my work will only bring shame." However, after a moment of concentration and a swift movement of his brush, he presented a poem that delighted Xianling, who recited it with great enthusiasm. The poem praised the dance, likening it to a beautiful scene, and Xuanling's high spirits indicated his approval. As the emperor praised, the others naturally followed suit with applause, though Rongnan Wang showed disdain. Rongnan Wang Fei subtly reminded him not to dampen the mood. I chose to ignore this and modestly expressed my gratitude for the high praise and the opportunity to witness such talent. The empress, with a nod and a smile, said, "Although the emperor may not compose poetry himself, his taste is impeccable. If he deems it good, it surely is." Encouraged by Xianling, Huan, as the most talented in the harem, why not compose a poem in response? With a slight smile, I contemplated excusing myself, but noticing Prince Qinghe's expectant look, I was reminded of the praised ladies of history like Consort Mei and Yu Xuanji. He expressed his eagerness to hear my contribution, putting me in a spot to respond with a verse of my own. After pondering for a moment, I tapped an ivory chopstick against a crystal cup and softly recited, "Sweat drenches new clothes, the paintbrush falls short. Silk urges the dance, the gown flutters light. Fallen flowers circle the tree, casting no shadow. Returning snow follows the wind, quietly conveying affection." After the recitation, my gaze gently shifted towards Xianling, followed by a demure smile. "My humble talents hardly deserve attention. This modest piece is merely for amusement." Xuanqing's eyes brightened, his gaze softly brushing over my face like a feather, his lips curling into a faint smile as if a thin ray of winter sun on the snow. What a line! Returning snow follows the wind, quietly conveying affection. Xuanling's Wani is not only sharp-witted and exceptionally talented, but also tender in her affection towards the emperor. Truly, the emperor is most fortunate. Raising his cup, he toasted, "To the emperor and Wani," and drained his cup in one gulp. Xianling finished his drink, held my arm gently, and softly advised, "Drink slowly, especially after dancing. Drinking too quickly can cause choking." I smiled gratefully at Xianling. "Thank you for your care, your majesty. I'm not much of a drinker." Taking the wine cup from my hand, Xianling smiled and said, "I'll drink on your behalf." He then drank the remaining wine from my cup and instructed Li Chang, "Engrave the poems written today by the 6th prince and concubine Zhen for preservation." Li Chang, ever perceptive, immediately congratulated, "Congratulations to your highness and concubine Zhen." The empress, smiling, added, "Don't delay in issuing the decree. Promote Zhen to the 3rd rank as Jieyu." Everyone stood to toast. "Congratulations to Jieyu on your promotion." I caught Meizhuang's warm smile and responded with one of my own. As everyone resumed their seats to enjoy the feast and wine, a faint sobbing sound emerged from a nearby seat, continuous and soft. I frowned slightly. On such a joyous occasion, who would dare to cry and dampen the spirits?
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.